This has been way more work than I thought. Something's always fighting you. Well guys, a little bit of an update on the pond. So yesterday, Parrish Tractor came by and picked up their skid steer.
More than a tractor store.
I was done with it. One thing I was not prepared for was how long it would take me to clean that thing. It had so much caked on clay that on my portable pressure washer station with the IBC tote, I had to use 400 gallons of water in 4 hours to get it clean. But I owed it to them clean. That's all part of the game. So I did that yesterday, and I also cleaned off the excavator and the tractor. But it was raining really hard. We got a whole bunch of rain, and we had the second problem or setback, and it's kind of a mixed blessing. I don't know if you've ever built a house and had a roof done or had your roof redone on your house, but while you don't want it to rain, you want dry weather to put a roof on, you also don't mind a little bit of rain after you've had like your tar paper or whatever your waterproof membrane is, because you'd like to see if that waterproof membrane leaks before you put the shingles on top. Just as you can see behind me, having a rain before the bentonite liner goes down on the pond probably isn't too bad of a thing either. The rainfall totals on the map said we got 1.5 to a little bit more, maybe 2 inches of rain, but in the cow's trough and the wheelbarrow that was outside, we saw, I would say, at least 3 inches of rain. And that put about 1 foot of water in the pond. And from what we can tell, and again, it's a very small sampling size, what we can tell, it's holding it pretty well. Because I got in there with some rubber boots that were about this high, but I can't use these because these have a hole in them. And I got in there and I walked in from about 6 different locations, and I was able to get away from the bank about 4 or 5 feet. And in each location, the water was to the top of my boots, which tells me without a laser level or anything, I got the bottom of the pond pretty level. If you saw the last 2 videos, you know I spent a lot of time on packing the clay as it came off the end of the culverts. And this one, actually, the culvert goes down lower than the other ones. But that packed clay didn't wash away. I mean, a little bit of the surface clay washed away, but over there on the one that comes off of the paved road, there's hardly any washout channel at all. So real happy with that. I'm glad that all of the culverts survived and didn't have big washout channels, and that the clay stayed together. Now this end of the pond was always the most shallow, and when this pond would be, say, a foot deep at that end, it would be dry to about there. Like all of this water right here would be non-existent because the pond was kind of sloped that way, and I think I got it more like this, more level in the bottom. Definitely could have taken out some more dirt here to make it deeper going this way, but that's a nice gentle slope going down there so that we can mow. And also, we don't know where we're going to put the dock or if we're going to put in a sandy beach or something. A gentle slope is better than a more severe slope like on that end. But this slope came out pretty good as well. Off camera, I got in here with the excavator and took out some of the areas like right here where it was jutting out a little bit. So you see the water line, it's pretty straight down there. And none of that will matter once the pond is at like the 6 foot level. And if one good rain gives us 1 foot of water and it holds it, and it looks like it's held it because it's been a couple days since it rained and I don't see any water receding from the bank. And that tells me that the bottom clay is really holding that water well. But if one rain gave us that 1 foot, it shouldn't be a big burden to get it up to 6 foot with the well. So with that little bit of confidence builder with the rain, also brings a little bit of work that I have to do before we can work on it and finish it. When Parrish came and picked up the skid steer, they're ready to bring out the 12,000 pound excavator, which can pick up the 3,000 pound bags of bentonite, take them down the slope and swing them around and spread them. And then I can rent the packer, which is about $1,400 for a week. But with all that rain, all of this along the edge here has become very wet. You know, imagine it's dirt from the bottom of the pond. It's kind of silty, and it was starting to dry out really good where you could drive on it and grade it, and now you're going to sink in, 4 inches when you walk across it, and also the bottom of the pond will have to dry. So we got to pump it out, and I just did the math. I asked ChatGPT how much water is in a 50 by 100 foot pond with 1 foot of water, and it said 325,000 gallons. So that rain gave us 325,000 gallons. I did some calculations years ago, and I figured at like 8 or 10 feet, it would be 1 million gallons, but that must not be true. I'm gonna have to do some more calculations. We got our same setup, but I'm gonna take my suction line, throw it in down here. And if you remember from the last couple videos, I made a little flat area down here to put the pump. This should be relatively easy. Just got to make sure my pickup goes in the little basin that I created. I don't know exactly where that basin is. It's somewhere around there. I can always move it with that piece of conduit I have attached. Yeah, this is no way this could be graded or worked with in any way. It's only dry on the very top, and the rest of that dirt you just sink in. We're going to give my little Honda pump a break. I kind of brought this into play just to give it some hours on it too early in the process, and it's been down here for weeks now keeping the pond dry. It's the older pump and the smaller pump. It's time for the bigger Duramax pump to chip in. It's a 7 horsepower pump. It can lift 92 feet and it can flow 158 gallons per minute. I don't know if my hose here has water in it or not, but I'm going to see if I could pull it around this oak tree. For the rest of this pond build, and actually going on forever, I'm always going to pump it from this location. So, oh man, that's full of water. Let me see if I can just connect this way. And that puts twists in it when you do that. So now I got it all twisted here. It's always something. As that goes down the edge of the pond, it's draining that pipe or that hose. I need like 6 more feet of slack to hook this hose up to the pump. I don't know if I can get it. Got all twisted. When you pull it sideways, it twists one side one way and the other side the other. I might have enough to get to the pump. This has been way more work than I thought. Something's always fighting you. Something that looked like it was going to be very easy to do is not. That twisted this hose up here too. I just spent an hour getting all the twist out of that stay flat hose, and that stuff is just a bear to work with. It's only 2 inch. I couldn't imagine having to deal with 3 or 4 inch hose. So when we pumped the pond last time, I had 24 hours of run time between the 2 pumps, and I don't know how much water was in the pond. It wasn't really anything you could calculate because of the way the pond was built, with it deeper on one end than the other. But we know how much per minute the pump can put out, and we know what ChatGPT told us is in the pond, so that'll give us a ballpark. First pull, 1 choke, unchoked it. You hear it running. She's pumping away. Thank goodness that part was easy. Yeah, I think it was 2 hours of run time per gallon of gas. Yeah, because I used 24 gallons of gas, and I think it took 48 hours to pump it down last time. And I don't let the pump run throughout the night. I let it run until it runs out of gas, like right at dark, and then I crank it up in the morning. So this was all tangled, and I had to unwrap it, go down the line, unwrap it, go down the line until I got to the end, and you can see the water gushing out the end down there. I want to super saturate this pasture, so I'm going to get that end and put it up here, and then it'll just flow down this pasture. A lot more flow out of that 7 horsepower pump. But if you drag the hose when it's full of water, then it doesn't get wrapped like it did when I drug it when it was empty. I don't know how firefighters do this. It's killing my legs. Mike Tipple at Triple T Acres, he's a firefighter. That's what he does for a living. God bless you and your friends, Mike. This culvert was flowing really, really good, and you see there's no washout. That's that packed clay, and it just stayed on top. And I would say this one flowed probably the second most, because that one over there actually comes from the gutters, and that's the one we showed you first. But something that's given us a lot of hope and confidence, there's not a water recession line there. It's like the flotsam is right where it was when the rain stopped. And that's after, you know, a good 24 hours or so. And that's just with moving clay. Existing clay in the pond, moving it around. That's no liner. That's not putting in the bentonite. That's not doing a super pack. That's just packing it with what I had, which was a skid steer and the excavator. And the skid steer weighs 9,000 pounds and the excavator weighs 6,300. Here's a good example of the flotsam. You can see it in the water and you can see the line. And I scraped this pond, so everything that was in the bottom was 100% completely dry. So some of that clay is going to soak up water anyway. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it leaked half an inch in 24 hours. It could mean that the water got absorbed by the dry clay that was here. But either way, that's better than it's ever been before. And I know for a fact I've sealed at least 4 big leaks that I found here. So fairly confident the pond would hold water good enough so that rainfall and the occasional well refresh would keep it full. But we've already bought the bentonite, and we're going to take that extra layer of insurance. It's fine bentonite. It's not like cat litter, because if you're building a pond from scratch, you want it more like a powder. And if you're trying to seal a pond that has already been built and you're just kind of throwing it in the water or putting it on top and mushing it in on top of a wet bottom, then you'd use the kitty litter, which is a different screening. I know some of you guys are going to want to know, how deep is it? And you're going to want me to show you and not just tell you. So for science, I put on the boots I was pressure washing with the other day that are still wet. So there's a little bit of silt here where it washed off the bank, but it used to be like a foot deep or more as far as silt. So that's as deep as I can go. I'll go over to the other side. It's interesting going along here and on the little rivulets of water that have come down to see how it washes away like the lighter clay away from the thicker, gooier clay. It's a less gradual drop off here because I put in so much where the bottom of the pond meets the side. I mean, for not having a laser level, I got that pond bottom pretty darn even. From there all the way the 50 feet over here. Nice solid hard bottom. It kind of pains me to have to pump this out because it's a good start, but the pond's not ready. And I'd rather pump it out now than have to pump it out later when it has 4 or 5, 6 feet of water in it, because I got to put that bentonite in here. But there you go, guys. 1 foot on that side, 1 foot on this side. So imagine the pond was 6 feet. All that bank is all new clay, so it still shouldn't leak at 6 feet. Now past 6 feet, it's anybody's bet. And it's okay if it leaks past 6 feet, because if the pond gets deeper, deeper than that, then it's probably going to be approaching its capacity soon, and it needs to go ahead and leak out because I don't have an overflow. If I start to have an overflow problem, I can dig an overflow the same place that that pipe is going and drain it to the low end of our property. I said it many times in the videos when I was doing this pond that it might have been beyond my abilities. I was using small equipment. I really never done that type of work before with a skid steer. And hopefully if you have ideas for a pond or you have a leaking pond, you can watch our video series and get confidence that you can do it yourself. I didn't have to rent the skid steer. That was sponsored by Parish Tractor, so that saved me $1,100 right off the top. And I own an excavator. So the only thing that it's cost me at this point to get the pond to this point is $300 in diesel fuel and I don't know, $100 in gas for the water pump. Other than that, I mean, I just reutilized the dirt and I reshaped what's here. Now the next step is going to be a lot more expensive because that bentonite was $6,500. I'm going to get a bigger excavator. That rental would be comped by Paris Tractor, but let's say it's $1,500, and then the fuel. Oh, and the packer, $1,400. So it's not cheap, but it's cheap in comparison to what we've already invested in this hole in the ground. And we'll end this video with a little bit of cow love. What you got going on with Chief and Charlie? You got snacks?
I haven't given them any.
Oh, I thought you had the were they alfalfa snacks? Chief on the right, Charlie on the left. Belle, are you drinking the cow's water? Cow's water, dog water. It's all the same around here. Charlie will see the camera and probably come towards it. Charlie's definitely likes the neck rub and the face rub. She and the camera. Here she comes. Here she comes. Pretty girl.
Always ready for a close-up.
Pretty girl. You're a pretty girl. What are you doing? And then Chief is definitely a stubborn old bull. He's getting more and more black on his face.
Show your pretty face. Show your pretty face.
It's got some pretty coloring though. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.